Hello, Carol.
Hello, Daryl.
It is September.
It is.
It is time for us to do yet another one of our tasty refried scenes.
And for once, the dice didn't kill us.
The dice didn't kill us, man. The dice. I think there's some enthusiasm in our voices on the last episode. The dice rolled in our favor, man.
Yeah, I had to switch a die.
Yeah. Did you bring that one this time?
Well, no, because we already have plans.
Oh, that's right. We do have plans this time. That's an upfront teaser for you right there.
Yeah, that's right.
But the dice rolled in our favor, and what did it give us? As if they are not, they didn't already read the title of this episode.
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yes, indeed. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Based on the book by Stieg Larsson.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the book?
No, I had a whole bunch of people come at me on Facebook like, yo, you haven't read the book yet? So.
The book is very good. I will say the trilogy kind of slid down a little bit. But
the book trilogy?
The book trilogy.
Goes down in quality?
Goes down in quality.
Okay.
As each one. The last one was probably my least favorite, but he died before they could edit it properly.
Okay. All right. So there's this is what he would have wanted right here.
Right. I think they published it just as he turned it in.
Manuscript.
Here's my manuscript, and he died, and then we'll just publish it.
I bet you that was a marketing tactic.
Yeah.
Is what that
There's a lot of filler in that last book.
Okay. Yeah.
But this is just the first book. So yeah.
Before we get into anything else, your phone case is huge. What is that? Do you have a Game Boy with us today?
No, it's so I broke my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to get a new one. So this is an iPhone 10, and I got a bigger case than normal because I tend to drop my phone.
Oh, okay.
And this actually curls around the edges and protects it a little bit more. So
all right. I thought you had a breaking case of an emergency phone in there. I think it's huge.
It does look really big. It's not that much bigger than the last phone. The case is bigger though.
Okay.
And the camera, they have the dual lens camera now.
It's all about that case,
weird.
huh?
Yeah, it's all about the case.
All right. And also, if you being the young woman that you are, if you're attacked late night, you can just
hit him over the head.
Brick them with the phone. And brain them.
I'll be threatening him with my phone and down in the subway.
Go ahead and call him. That's not what I meant. All right, let's get into this bit of business. We want to start with this 2009 Swedish jump.
Yes. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the Swedish name for it.
Oh, no. But I didn't realize. So I'm confused. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is what we know it as, but in Swedish, this title does not translate to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
No, that is the English language name of the book. The book in Sweden is The Man Who Hates Women.
Okay.
I think they changed it in America because the book, the entire trilogy focuses so much on Lisbeth.
Yeah.
That she's the focal point of each of the titles.
Yeah, the girl who this and girl who that kind of narratively flows.
Right.
And also with a title like Men Who Hate Women, you might turn off part of your audience there
who's like, well, why would I want to read that?
Yeah. This is a much more appealing. I think The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is a much more appealing title.
Yeah. And this stars Noomi Rapace as the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah, that's my introduction to old Noomi Rapace.
Yes, and Michael Nyqvist.
Yeah.
As Mikael Blomkvist.
Yeah, rest in peace to that dude.
I know.
Was it last year before? It was
I think
recently.
the year before. It was recently.
Yeah.
He was young. He was only in his mid-50s.
Yeah, lung cancer, I think.
Yeah. The smoking will get you.
Yeah, I was watching him in this, and I was just like, why do I remember, seeing something on TV about this guy being just a complete dick in real life? So I went and I did some digging, and it's not that. He's just a villain of John Wick. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was going to say he's the father of the guy that killed John Wick's puppy. So he deserved to die in that film.
Theon Greyjoy's father. Who knew?
Theon Greyjoy just had some terrible dads in the cinematic universe.
The terrible dad cinematic universe. Put Odin in there from Thor. Right on.
So we begin our story with Michael Blomkvist. I'm going to butcher some Swedish names here, people.
I'm Blomkvist.
And they pronounce it Mikael Blomkvist in the movie. He has just been found guilty of libel. He's a journalist. He's an investigative journalist. Co-publishes a magazine called Millennium, which I believe was based on, what's the Swedish magazine that got bombed?
Oh, so this is a thinly veiled
Thinly
something.
veiled.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's Charlie Hebron. Charlie, and it has like a man's name to the magazine, but yeah, the magazine in the book is thinly veiled as that magazine.
Okay.
Because they publish a lot of very.
Is it like a tabloid or?
It's not a tabloid.
Okay.
It's very. They do their research, but they tend to go after people that normal people don't touch.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So Hedron, Charlie Hedron. I think that's the name of the magazine. But anyway, in the movie, it's Millennium.
Yeah.
And he's a co-publisher, and he's published an article on an
Wennerstrom.
a billionaire financier, Hans Erich Wennerstrom. Wennerstrom, yes. And one of his inside information people turns out to be fake. He was set up, and so he's found guilty of libel.
Honeypot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's found guilty of libel, and in Sweden, this means he gets to pay a great big fine and go to jail.
Yeah, but I have questions about this. Like, that's a nice hefty fine. I was wondering if, like, is that just libel? You got to pay it out, or is it because of the stature of the person he libeled against?
I think it's just because he libeled.
Damn, and jail? God, it's the most honest country on the face of the
planet. Like, it's 3 months. It's not a huge sentence, but he does have to actually go to jail.
Look, 3 days is a huge sentence. Yeah. 3 months is not to fuck you up.
So before he turns himself in to go to jail.
There's also a nice gap of time between...
They give him like...
Half a year.
They
give him 6 months.
6 months. Prepare yourself because you got to go to jail. Get your shit in order. Pack your little to-go bag.
What do we... Pack your overnight bag for jail.
For jail.
We got to get out of the States, Carol. We got to get over to Sweden.
We got to go over to Sweden, man.
Yeah.
They get like 8 weeks of vacation a year.
Yeah, they do.
They have all the saunas. So anyway, before he goes to jail, he gets contacted by Henrik Wanger, who is also a huge industrialist.
Right.
Because he wants him to investigate a murder.
Yeah.
And Henrik Wanger has actually done research on Michael Blomkvist, and he is hired to do the research. His lawyer actually hired a company that employs Elizabeth Salander.
Yeah.
Who is our girl with the dragon tattoo.
Right. A very gnarly tattoo as well.
Yeah. She is incredibly alternative.
Okay, yeah, that's one way of putting it. She's very self-expressive.
Yeah, she's very self-expressive.
Yeah. Express yourself.
Yeah. You would probably be afraid of her on the streets.
I would clutch my purse.
Yes.
If I saw her coming down the street.
She's very punk rock. She's very and she's very withdrawn. In this movie, she's very antisocial, but I wouldn't call her bitchy.
I would call her rude.
She's rude, but she's not. There's an awkwardness to the rudeness in this version.
Okay.
In my opinion.
All right, fair enough.
And I'll probably get more into that a little bit later on. But she's very, very good at what she does.
Yes.
And she is basically hacked into Michael's. I'm going to call him Michael. I know it's the...
Damn it, it's Michael. It's Michael to our English tongues.
Yeah. She's hacked into his computer.
Yes, very, very illegal.
Pulled all of his financial records, and her report to the Vongers is basically he's clean. He's on the up and up. He's not taking money from anybody.
Right.
He is who he says he is. The most damaging thing to his character is that he's having an affair with his married co-publisher, which is actually known to her husband, and he's okay with it. So.
Right. Yeah. I was just so confused by that. Like, so I mean, just work business.
It's Sweden.
Once again, we got to get the hell out
of here. Granted, Michael's wife wasn't okay with it because she left his ass.
That's right. She left, and the other couple stayed together.
Right.
Right on.
So, she turns in her report, and gives him her opinion, and then goes on her merry, and then we start two different timelines or two different stories here because we follow Elizabeth for a while, stories. And then we follow Michael for a while.
Right.
Michael, as he's hired by Henrik to investigate a murder, and it's the murder of is it his great niece?
I think it would be.
Yeah, the family situation in the Vongers is like
That family tree is wild business. We need an ice and fire appendix for this.
A lot of freaking Nazis.
Yeah, yes.
A lot of Nazis. I would not be going to Thanksgiving dinner.
No. Nope. Count me out on that one.
His great niece disappeared in 1960. I want to say 1966. And he believes she was murdered. And on the day that she disappeared, there was a big parade in the town, and there was also a big accident on the bridge leading into town. And when everybody got back from investigating the accident, Harriet, that was the name, was gone. And he believes she's been murdered. And the reason why he believes that she's been murdered is because she used to give him dried plants every year for his birthday.
Right.
And ever since she disappeared on his birthday, he has received one.
Yes, and he believes he's receiving these from the killer taunting him.
Who's taunting him and trying to drive him insane.
Right on.
And he wants Michael to investigate it. So we're talking a 40-year-old case.
Yeah, the coldest of cases.
You want me to do what? It's Sweden in winter. It's damn cold. And there's not a whole lot to go on.
No.
So Michael's like, well, I got nothing better to do before going to jail.
And then that's not we can ignore the fact that they offer to pay him handsomely.
Yes, pay him handsomely, and he has actually been ousted from Millennium, so he really doesn't have anything to do.
Yeah. I think it might be the remake. I remember the remake specifically says they took all his money for the most part.
Yeah. In this one, they took all of his money.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, what else are you gonna do? Somebody's dangling a fat check in front of you.
So he says, what the hell? I'm going to move up here, live in a cottage on the estate, and investigate what I can from this decades-old murder.
And he has nothing to lose, right? Because Wonger tells him, look,
he just wants
I'm not expecting you to find anything.
Yeah, he's just
look.
hoping to have an answer before he dies.
Right.
So, and all he has to go on is Harriet's diary. And a couple of pictures.
Yeah, there's a lot of picture taking in this, and a lot of clues off of pictures.
I will say it's a lot of coincidental pictures.
Yeah, a lot of plot moving forward pictures. Yeah. Convenient, I'll say.
Convenient, yes. But Harriet's diary, where the last page is a bunch of cryptic, what they assume to be phone numbers.
Right.
Initials and then phone numbers.
Strings of numbers.
So, and that's all he has to go on. So he's just talking to the police officer, and he does find out that the police did do their job. They tracked down every possible thing they could, and the lead investigator is still like, this is my case that I never solved. It bugs me. And if you find anything, let me know.
Which I kind of assume that's exactly how a retired, or I think he's about to retire. In this one.
I don't think he's retired in this one.
Yeah, police dude would be like, this is the case that looms over my entire.
Right. So in the family, you've got his brother Godfried.
Yeah.
Who was a Nazi.
Yes.
And Harold, who was also a Nazi.
Yes. So pretty much our main dude, Henrik, is the only not Nazi out of those.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I believe Harriet's mother was also a Nazi.
Wouldn't be surprised.
And then Godfried's son, Martin, who runs the business, the Wonger business right now.
Yeah.
Is he in this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to think. Martin is more predominant in the remake for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But and that's basically all he has. And Harriet was very good friends with Anita, her cousin. And they looked very similar. And the reason why Henrik goes to Michael is because Michael's father used to work for Wonger, and they lived on the estate. And Harriet and Anita used to watch Michael when he was.
And I find that an interesting wrinkle in the movie. Yeah.
So when he came when Heinrich saw him on television, kind of his downfall on television, he's like, well, what the hell? I'm going to see if I can
help this dude out.
Help this dude out a little bit. So, excuse me.
I like Henrik in the version. I mean, I like him more in the remake, but
I really liked this Henrik. And then Godfrey, Harriet's father, died the year before she disappeared.
So he's out.
So he's out as a suspect, but he believes that it's someone within the family.
This is a terrible family. So
this is a horrible.
Can't put anything past these people.
So this is what Michael has to go on, and he just doesn't have a whole lot. He's just kind of
flailing. He's
flailing at this point.
Yeah.
So switch over to Elizabeth, who during this time we find out is a ward of the state.
This is the wildest B plot. It's a movie.
This is We find out she's a ward of the state because she was in a psychiatric facility for a very long time.
Yes, which is...
And right now, her finances are controlled by a quote-unquote sponsor.
Yeah. She is this person's ward.
Right. And her normal sponsor has just had a stroke. So she's given a new sponsor. And oh boy, this guy's really...
Complete 180 from her old ward. Yeah.
When she goes to him to get an allowance because she has a job and pays her rent and everything. But if she wants extra, she has to go to him. And he actually manages her finances. So, and I'm sure she's taken like under the table money from...
Oh, you know it. Oh, you know it. She's got her own little racket going, I'm sure.
But anyway, on her way home one day from the office, I guess, she is beaten up in the subway station and they break her computer.
That's right.
So she goes to him and says she needs $20,000.
Yeah. I was like, what's the conversion rate? Because what the hell is she getting?
I'm pretty sure that there's a really large
wild swing
there.
Yeah.
Anyway, she wants $20,000 for a new computer, and in order to get that $20,000, she has to give him a blowjob. Yeah. This dude is like old and skeevy too.
Yeah.
It's like
it's a bad matter made worse because he's not an attractive man.
He's not, no, and he's not at all like. He is just. He's
not charming.
He's not charming.
Not
There's
oily,
nothing. It's just like it's immediate go for the boob. It's like you're going to give me a blowjob, and I like the scene afterwards where she is literally taking handfuls of soap and washing her mouth out. And then he only gives her $7,000.
That's right. That's
I'm
right.
like, motherfucker. I'm going to curse a lot in this one. So that's the situation she now has to deal with her sponsor. If she wants any of her money, she has to go to this dude. And it's obvious that this dude is going to ask for something sexual every time she needs money.
Yep.
So she decides to get, she's going to...
There's some prep work that needs to be done here.
So she contacts him and says she needs more money. And this time he says, why don't you come to my house? Yeah, she probably should have said no at this point.
Right.
But she goes there because she intends to film him and she thinks he's just going to ask for another blowjob. But he does not. No, this is a very intense scene.
Yes, so warning for the viewers.
If you're
listening to this, you know what's going on.
She puts her backpack down, which has the camera in it.
Yeah.
And then he just punches the shit out of her.
Right? Just the right cross knocks her lights out and she wakes up
handcuffed to the bed. And then he ties her up and rapes her. And apparently this goes on for 2 hours because she says she has 2 hours worth of film later on.
Oh, I don't know if I ever caught on that. Oh my God.
So, and then
the whole movie.
Yeah, and then he gives her the money and she stumbles home.
Yes, a limp.
The limp home. And then what is she going to do? She can't go to the police because this dude's going to say she's psycho. But she has film.
She got the film. I mean, why wouldn't you just take that film to... Well, I don't think she ever never intended on
I don't think she intended to go to the police with the film. I think she intended to get him fired with the film, and I do think she intended to upload it to the internet.
Yeah.
But at this point, she feels...
Oh, it's way worse.
This is way worse.
Yeah.
And she needs to do something just as bad, or she needs some revenge. And this is one of the best revenge scenes ever.
You know what? I got to agree with that.
Because she contacts him again and says, I need more money. And he again says, come to my house. Actually, no, she doesn't contact him. She just shows the fuck up.
Yeah.
She shows up, he answers the door, and she just tasers him
right in the neck.
Tasers him in the neck. And when he wakes up, he is nude. He is hog-tied on the floor.
Ground, yeah.
And his mouth is taped shut. And she just jams a dildo in him.
Yeah, Richard. Whoop! Right
and
in
then
there.
Gives
no
it
loop.
2 kicks to make sure it's in there good.
That's why I was like, I mean, yes, she deserves every bit of this, but those kicks are just unnecessary.
And then she makes him watch the entire film, and that's where she says it's 2 hours long, so make sure you're comfortable. And then after that, the film is over, she goes in and she says, here's what's going to happen. Every month, you're going to send a report saying, I am just working my butt off, and I'm just happy as a clam. Very sociable. You're going to give, I am going to have control of all of my money. And in 1 year, you're going to say, I'm ready for emancipation.
Right.
And if none of that happens, I'm going to release this to the internet and send it to the press and put it on the internet.
Man, your life is over.
Yeah. And then if she sees any women come into his house.
Yeah, his sex life is done.
Is done.
It's done.
She's going to kill him. And then to make sure that he has no problem not letting women into his house, she very clumsily tattoos, I'm a sadist pig and a racist on his chest.
Rapist.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, rapist on his chest. Just very clumsily. Yeah. And then just leaves him like that.
Yeah, which I was thinking about this. I think she leaves like some way to.
She actually ties him up with cord. She does not. I hear she doesn't use the handcuffs. So I think she does leave something so he can get himself free,
but not in arm's reach.
Which
so makes no sense to me.
He's going to have to move himself a little bit.
Yikes!
So, I was like, yes,
you were peak popcorn at this moment.
Yes. So, so she is now kind of free and clear of the asshole, at least in this movie.
Yeah.
And she goes back to just what she's doing, which is watching Michael Bloomkist's computer.
Yeah, her job was done researching Bloomkist, but she continues to research him for reasons unknown to me.
I think she probably just liked him.
Think so?
Yeah, because I don't think like at that point I don't think it was any sort of romance or anything like that. I think it was just like, this is a pretty good guy who got shit on, so I'll just keep an eye on what he's doing.
That hard exterior, she does.
She's like, I'll just keep an eye on him, and she finds his folders on Harriet Wonger, and she breaks the code on the back of the diary.
Yes, what we thought were phone numbers.
Right. It's not. It's actually verses from Leviticus. So she emails him. She thinks twice about it, but she does hit the send. She tells him they're biblical numbers, and she gives him the Leviticus.
Lets me know Leviticus is a wild ass book.
Oh God, Leviticus is horrible. We can't do anything, people. We can't eat anything. We can't wear anything. We can't do anything. That's Leviticus in a nutshell.
Sit there.
It's more judgmental than both books of Judges combined. So she emails him, and he's like, "Okay, who the hell is this?"
Right.
So
he does a little bit of sleuthing of his own.
He's like, "Okay, before I get into the Harriet thing, who did you hire to look at me?" And then he shows up on her doorstep, and won't go away.
At least in the remake, Daniel Craig had the decency to bring breakfast.
Yeah, here, no. He tries to drink her, I don't even know how old that coffee was.
Well, he learned the hard way.
And he says, well, you cracked this, can you help me?
Right.
And she decides, okay. I think what turns her is that this is, he realizes that this is a serial killer. And she's like, okay, I'm in, he kills women.
Well, we can't have that.
Right.
This must be a man who hates women.
Yeah.
And they look right at the camera.
Yeah. So they team up and go back and start investigating Harriet. And Michael finds like lots of pictures from the parade. And there's pictures like that are, and this I can actually buy because the one picture they use, she's watching, there's Harriet's kind of in the center and she's watching the parade. And there are several pictures after that where she turns and sees something and then immediately leaves.
And dips out.
Yeah. So he tries to find what she's looking at. And he finds a very convenient couple taking pictures.
In the opposite direction?
In the opposite direction.
Yes. So he has to go track down their shit.
Right. And then he finds another picture taken by the newspaper of them with their car that has his carpentry.
Yes. logo
on it. So he goes to find them. And of course, the carpenter is actually dead, but his wife is still alive. And wouldn't you know it, they were on their honeymoon. So yeah, she has plenty of pictures.
The power of photography. Yeah, cracking cases left and right. We get DNA, we got photography.
And he finds the picture that Harriet was looking at, and it's this dude in a blue sweater. He can't make out exactly who it is because it's very blurry, but it's a dude in a blue sweater.
Now we're on to the dude in blue sweater.
Yeah. So now he has to figure out who that is.
Which, the one thing that really bugs me about this movie is the cops investigated this for how long, and with a couple of photos, he's like, well, unearthed some new clues for you.
Yeah, but he figured out the Leviticus things.
Yeah.
And at that point, he also figured out, they both figured out that the initials were murder victims.
Yeah.
And that they were killed in accordance to the verse from Leviticus.
Yeah. And
these were pretty horrific murders.
Pretty gruesome. Land with animals.
And they started in 1944. So now he's thinking he's looking for a very old man.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already like, okay, well, it can't be this person or that person because I'm looking for someone who's...
Yeah, ages don't match up.
Yeah, the ages don't match up. So they continue to investigate. He finds the guy in the blue sweater. Now I'm getting the two mixed up in my head now.
He is shot at.
He is shot at. Yeah, okay, so before he's shot at, though...
Yeah, the dinner with Martin.
They have what?
The dinner with Martin. And his,
dinner with Martin.
Yeah.
At his house. And I don't think he's got a girlfriend in this one, does he?
I think so. You know, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I know there's other family. I know there's other family members at the dinner. But he has dinner with the Vongers, and they're obviously not real thrilled that he's there.
Yeah. He doesn't look like a Nazi.
Yeah, true. He doesn't. And Heinrich has a heart attack.
Yes.
And the family is deciding whether or not they want to keep Blomqvist there. And he's like, well, until Heinrich tells me to leave, or Heinrich's lawyer tells me to leave, I'm going to continue to investigate.
Heinrich's lawyer, like, look, we do sign a contract, so.
Right. So they continue to sift through the minute clues that they have, but they find that there are more and more victims.
More than what Harriet had in her diary.
And in her diary. And they realized the reason why Harriet disappeared was because she was also putting the pieces together and finding out that there's a serial killer.
Right.
So.
There's a lot of... This movie's like 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Both of them are.
Both of them are 2 hours. I think they're actually almost exactly the same length. 2 hours and 30 some odd minutes.
They're dense.
So Michael
we're
and Elizabeth...
27 minutes into this, and we're already skipping over a lot of stuff.
Michael and Elizabeth start sexing it, because of course they do.
Skip to the sex. Yeah, because as you do.
I kind of love the sex scene in the Swedish one, because she just sneaks into his room. And he's like, is this a good idea? Okay, yeah, it's a good idea.
A very masculine way of handling that situation.
And then once she's done, she's like, okay, good night, and leaves.
Yeah, and dips out.
It's like, well, where are you? Good night.
I think he tried something to her bed at some point.
He did later on.
He's like, hey, ain't nothing happened. I'm going to bed.
No, something happened before the scene started. And then she turns the light off and he snuggles down and she's like, well, what are you doing?
That's right.
He's like, I'm going to sleep. I'm like, okay, but I want to sleep too.
She's a very tough nut to crack.
She's a little bit tough here. But yes, he is shot at. He's walking through the forest, because this is Sweden and there's lots of forests, and somebody shoots at him and grazes him in his head.
Yeah.
Which, Elizabeth doesn't want him to call the police, but of course he kind of has to.
Just why he shot at me. I'm still wondering if that was a errant shot or a warning shot.
I think it was an errant shot.
Okay.
I think they could have easily marked it off as an accidental shooting if he had hit his mark.
Okay.
It's like, oh, he's out hunting, and oops.
Yeah, whoops.
He wasn't wearing orange.
Thought it was a giant turkey. No, it was a man. Sorry.
So Michael determines that it's Gottfried, Heinrich's brother, and Harriet's father, who is killing the girls.
Who has, he's dead already, so you can't really do much about that.
But the other brother is still alive. What's his name? Henry. Yeah. He's still alive, and he decides he's going to break into his house.
That's the one we haven't seen.
Yeah, because he thinks this is probably, if it's not Godfrey, it has to be this dude. So he's going to break into his house and look for clues. Meanwhile, Elizabeth goes to Vonger Industries and starts pulling through all of their financial records to see if there's any connection within the company to all of the women who were killed.
So as far as I'm concerned, Bloomquist doesn't do a lot in this movie.
In this movie, no. Elizabeth is really
does everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because she determines that Martin was the connecting factor for at least several of the victims.
Right.
Meanwhile, Michael has just been saved from Henry by Martin, who invites him in for a drink. Don't do it.
That's how they get you.
And then puts a needle in his neck and puts him to sleep.
And that's when you know the gig is up.
Yep. And drags him down to his murder cellar because he's got one of those.
A very well-equipped murder cellar.
Very well-equipped murder cellar. Because he's had
everything.
Decades to outfit this thing.
That's true.
Where he ties him up and he's going to hang him, but he's got a monologue first.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like in that instance, monologue away because he's fairly certain no one's coming for him.
But also, he wants to know what he's found out about Harriet because Martin did not kill Harriet, and he wants to know what happened to her.
Before I kill you, answer my questions.
Answer my questions.
Yeah.
So Elizabeth finds out as Martin goes running back or riding because she rides a motorcycle. She's got, because she's cool. Rides back to the cabin where they're staying, and look because she had set up cameras around the cabin. Looks and finds footage of both Michael leaving and Martin snooping around.
Right.
So she goes to save him, which she does with a nice 9-iron. Just 9-iron to the head, thwack.
Yep.
And saves Michael, and Martin goes running out and gets into his car, and there's a car chase with her on the motorcycle and him in the car. And he loses control and rolls down a hill, and she goes down, and he's like, he's trapped, and he's like, I can't move. I can't. Can you help me?
She's like, nah, I'm just gonna stand.
Yeah,
here.
I'm just gonna stand here and watch you while the fire.
It's the old Batman Begins business. Like, I don't have to. I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't have to save you.
That's right. And he burns to death because his car catches fire, and she just watches.
She is enjoying that ember glow.
Yeah.
I do like, if I remember correctly, Martin escapes and she just tosses Bloomquist something like, here, get yourself free.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. I'm not helping you.
Yeah. She just basically, she cuts his hands free, but then gives him the knife and goes after Martin. Because she's like, you can help. You can get yourself out now.
Yeah.
But Martin dies in the fire. And they find out that he had dozens of victims, dozens and dozens.
He'd been putting in some work over the years.
And they also find out that his father was the original serial killer who taught Martin.
Right. So the tradition continues. So had Godfrey lived, he would have been the old man they were searching for.
They were searching for, but he didn't. And then they find out why he didn't live because Lisbeth, who is good at everything, figures out that Anita, who was best friends with Harriet, 2 Anitas left Sweden. One went to London and one went to Australia.
Which is where I get confused.
Yeah. Anita basically, I think, gave Harriet her passport.
Okay, but there still exists 2 Anita Vangers.
Mm-hmm.
One died, we know.
Yeah, one died in London.
Or whatever.
Mm-hmm. The other moved to Australia. I mean, it's 2 people with the same name. It happens.
I mean...
And it's also 1966. They're not that.
Yeah, I guess. Just the documentation doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking too much into it.
But she's in the outback, and Michael flies out there and says, hey,
Michael, not a flight risk for going to jail. Bloomquist.
Just go to Australia, dude. I'm sure we got an extradition treaty. I think.
Anyways, gotta go pick up somebody.
You're coming back, right?
Yeah.
He goes out there and says that your brother's dead. And then she explains that she had been raped by her father and her brother, and that one night or one day she escaped, and her father came after her, and she killed his ass.
And what they all thought was a
boating accident, a drunken boating accident.
Was drunken, all right,
yeah.
but no.
But she held him down.
Yeah, held him down with the oar.
No guilt. And that when the opportunity presented itself, Anita helped her to just escape, basically.
Right.
And she had actually been sending the birthday gifts every year. So he brings her back to Sweden. And I love this scene so much because the guy that plays Heinrich here, it's such a, because he comes in, Michael comes in and is like, okay, you got to promise me you won't have another heart attack.
Yeah.
He's like, with all these pills I'm taking, I don't think I can.
I really like that character.
Yeah, and Harriet comes in, and it's just really...
That is a good bit of acting right there.
That was a really good bit of acting.
That's a great bit of acting. That's just that look of utter surprise and disbelief and not wanting to put two and two together.
Right.
Because if I'm wrong, then I'm just going to be some crazy old man. Yeah, it's great. It's really great.
And then Michael turns himself in and goes to jail because he's a good guy.
Because he's a good guy. A very comfy looking jail cell, by the way.
It is. It's a white collar. It's white collar jail.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Elizabeth is doing her own little research on the guy who put Michael in jail.
Old Vanderstrom.
And she finds a whole bunch of stuff, including all of his money, which he goes and steals.
Yeah, they're pretty. They kind of gloss over that in this version.
In this version, well, they gloss over it, and because there's a trilogy of films in the Swedish films. Right. It goes more in depth in the second and third one as to how exactly she did this. Yeah. Because in this version, all you're getting is just a still photo of her at an ATM, basically withdrawing 20 million, whatever,
and wig and whatnot.
And she sends Michael information, or actually she visits him in prison. And here it says here's some reading material, and it's all of the financial information from Brunnerstrom, and it's like this will do it. This is what you wanted to have happen the first time around. Yeah, and he does. He publishes another article, and it's proven true, and the dude flees the country and then kills himself. Yeah, that's about it. That's pretty much how it ends. And then she visits her mother.
Oh, that's right.
Because we do have some flashbacks for Elizabeth where, and they don't go, it's very minor flashbacks because this is explained further.
All set up for the other movies.
For the other movies where she burned her father, which is why she was in the psychiatric ward. And her mother was horribly abused by him, which is why she lit him on fire.
As you do.
So she goes and visits her mother, and that's kind of where it just ends. Yeah.
But I went and looked at the release dates because by the time I got to watching these, they were all out. But I'm pretty sure they all came out the same year, at least for us here in the States.
In the States, I think. In Sweden, I don't think they were all filmed at the same time.
A little Lord of the Rings action there.
Okay. So, because the girl who played with fire is the second one. Mm-hmm. And that goes more into her background. And then that horrible person that she tattooed comes back as well.
Yes, because it's been, these came out in 2009. I want to say I watched them in 2009. Yeah. And while I've seen Dragon Tattoo a couple times, I haven't watched the other two. And I kept thinking, like, doesn't that guy come back?
Yeah,
okay, he does.
And you find out what she does with the money.
Okay, right on.
And then girl who kicked the hornet's nest is actually a trial because she goes back to jail.
Yeah. That's the punk rock look back.
Right. Very high mohawk in that one.
Yeah, it's very high mohawk. Yeah. High boots, all leather, and that's the first one,
the Swedish one.
Yeah. Love that movie.
So do I.
Yeah.
Cut to 2011.
2 years later.
2 years later.
I guess Fincher saw this and he's like, "Give me this script.
Give me this. Yes.
Give me these rights."
So we get the Americanized version of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which stars Runa Mara.
Girlfriend of Joaquin Phoenix, the most intense couple in Hollywood.
Yeah, and their poor child. Oh my God.
It's going to be an intense baby. That's a serious
Either
kid.
that or it's going to be like sunshine, lollipops, and rainbow.
Oh, no, you're not wrong.
And Daniel Craig.
Yes. I suspect foul play.
I was waiting. I was just hoping. Come on, Dragon. No,
Just give me a little something.
Right.
No. All right.
What irritates me about this film a little bit is that it's still set in Sweden.
Yes.
And everybody is trying to do a Swedish accent, except Daniel Craig.
Yeah, he's
who's
like, look,
just straight British.
This is what you get. Can't do it. This is what you get.
Nope, I'm British. That's what you get.
Fired my dialect coach the first day of the set.
And this is a pretty faithful remake. They drop the whole flashback sequences with Elizabeth and her father.
Yeah. Be honest, as far as adaptations go, might be the most of these two. Might be the most side by side.
Side by side, yeah. They follow pretty much there's certain things that are changed. And I watched these back to back, and I noticed.
Oh, you
got
to spare 13 hours.
Yeah, because this is also 2.5 hours. I noticed a few things, having watched the Swedish one first, and then this one. They change up some of the timeline sequences, which is just very, very minor things. Mm. They throw in a cat, which is there just to be killed, which irritated the hell out of me.
Yeah, I feel like the cat was killed in one of the same manners that the girl was killed.
Yeah.
And displayed.
But to me, the second they had the cat showed up at the cottage, I was like, oh, that cat's going to die.
Yeah. Chekhov's cat.
And in this version, it's Lisbeth who doesn't do a hell of a lot.
Is Daniel Craig doing a little sleuthing in this?
Yeah. He's the one that figures out the Leviticus.
Yeah, that I wasn't a fan of. And that whole weird daughter plot existed specifically
that
to get
is
the
in the
ball
books.
rolling.
Yeah, that is in the books, but I don't think the religious aspect, because Lisbeth is the one that breaks it in the books. I don't think the daughter being religious is from the books, but he does have a daughter.
Okay.
I think his daughter shows up in the second two Swedish films too, but here his daughter has found a church that she's very happy with and is very religious and mentions Leviticus or something in passing, and it clicks with him and he solves the Leviticus.
Yeah, I said go easy on the Protestants or something like that.
Right.
And that kind of gets the ball rolling in his head.
And here Martin is he's a bigger character. He's played by Stellan Skarsgård, so of course you gotta beef the role up.
Yeah.
And it's like he's toying with them because he helps Michael. Michael in this one willingly resigns from Millennium. Mm-hmm. He's not fired.
Right.
They kind of made Michael the focal point of this film, in my view. And it's because they had Daniel Craig.
Yeah, I mean, you got James Bond.
So he does the noble thing and resigns from Millennium, as opposed to the Swedish one where he's fired.
Get the hell out. He bankrupted us.
Robin Wright plays his co-publisher.
Doing her best Swedish accent.
Trying her hardest.
She's trying, damn it.
And they go a little bit more into their relationship, I think, than the Swedish one does.
A little bit.
They explain it a little bit more. But, and the same central points happen. Lisbeth is although she's not beat up in the subway and has her computer broken. Here it's just like a purse snatch.
Yeah.
So they tone certain things down, but then they jack certain things up. To me, the rape scene was a bit more. They explain everything. And it's like, I know what is happening. I don't need it explained to me.
Yeah, talk about a show, not tell.
It's like
a show and tell.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I don't need the dude to say what exactly he's going to be doing right now.
Yeah.
But she tattoos him the same way. She's got a bigger dildo though. That steel thing came out. I was like, oh.
Somebody's day's ruined.
She went to the hardcore store for that one. But here, Elizabeth is she doesn't do as much in this one.
And I'm wondering if all this is because Fincher just wanted to do the one. And whereas she is the focus of all three, just condensing down to the one, he can kind of shift focus over to
Michael Bloomquist.
Yeah.
Although, man, this starts off so awesome. because you got Karen O and Trent Reznor doing the immigrant song. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, I like this.
Because this is one of the first movies that Reznor scored.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
And it's a pretty good score.
He does all right with himself, man.
Oscar winner, man.
Yeah. That's right. He does win an Oscar for this.
He won for Social Network.
Yeah, that's right. Social Network. Yeah.
So,
I knew one that was him and Fincher combinations.
Yep. So this one, I mean, it follows basically the same exact time,
Same plot, same beats.
Same beats, except that here, Anita is not dead, or Anita is dead, but Harriet basically took her identity.
Yeah. Whereas there was two of them in
the first one.
Yeah, in this one.
She basically she's living in London as Anita.
Yeah. Which I guess she just never sees any of the family because they'd be like, well, it's.
I don't even think she's in London. Actually, she's in Stockholm. Yeah, she's still in Sweden.
Wait, I thought she was in London.
I don't remember him flying back and flying that far. Well, there's no prison sentence in this one. He's just fined.
Yeah.
Because you can't throw Daniel Craig in prison.
It's actually on the law books. You cannot imprison Daniel Craig for anything.
It's like, sorry.
The only person who can sign off on it is Rachel Weisz.
But yeah, I felt that Lisbeth was a little bit hamstrung in this one.
Okay.
And I understand why, because you do have Daniel Craig in that focal point. That's also why, he's got to get partially nude every chance he freaking gets.
Man, you got that James Bond body, man. That's probably his insistence. Hey, look, I work for this. We're going to show this off.
And I did like Christopher Plummer.
Yeah.
I did like Christopher Plummer.
So good in this movie. He's so charming and warm and this funny old man. I love him in this movie.
Yeah. So it's, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it is basically the same exact story.
Yeah. Circling back to what you said about Stellan Skarsgård kind of toying with them.
Yeah, because he bails Millennium out of the hole by becoming a partner and giving them a whole bunch of money.
You're right.
He's the one who says that, oh no, Bloomquist should stay. He should stay.
He fights hard. And I'm not...
There's a story that he's writing a memoir for the family, and that's why he's there.
Cover story,
Whereas in the Swedish one, I think everyone's aware that he's investigating Harriet's disappearance.
Yeah.
Here, it's kind of like, oh, he's just writing a book about the family, which I don't know, kind of awkward, but whatever.
Yeah, why would this guy?
Why are you only focusing on 1966?
Yeah, why this guy who just got a huge libel case against him you hire as an author for your memoir?
Right.
It makes no sense.
But I do think Martin was toying with them a little bit more, and I think because here, Martin is very vocal about wanting to know what happened to Harriet because he wants to kill her.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because I don't think he believes that she's dead. Yeah. So
because he does seem very upset when he's got Michael all strung up in his murder basement, and he doesn't know what happened to her, and he's like, well, what did you find out? You have to know. Yeah, he's very upset that there's nothing. Yeah, which kind of clues you in on the fact that it wasn't him. Yeah, but it's the same type of thing, and in both versions, he taunts him with the fact that while they were having dinner upstairs, he had a girl tied up downstairs. Random woman. So some random woman, and that after dinner he took her out on his boat and dumped her. Killed her. Yeah. Which is what he's done with all of the dozens of victims. That's got to be one horrible lake. Right? Do not drag that lake. It's going to look like the Hudson. Ew. So yeah, I felt in the English version that Lisbeth was a little bit just kind of there. Right on. And they made Rooney Mara so pasty. They did. And they dyed her eyebrows white. Yeah. So she looks almost alien. Although they did keep the book ending for this one. Because in the book, she buys Michael a leather jacket. A leather jacket, yes. This was going to be her overture of affection of some kind. Yes. And then she sees him with his co-editor, and they're leaving the office kind of arm in arm.
and she just pitches the jacket
right in the trash
Yeah,
there.
and,
Well, she's got the money she can afford.
Yeah, because she's got 20 million.
Millions.
Whatever. That probably equates to about $6. But
Somebody came by and found that jacket in a dumpster.
oh yeah, some homeless dude is rocking.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna be warm as fuck, or I'm gonna get me some money for this.
That's right. So that's what happens in the book.
And they go into a little bit more explanation or showing of how she got the money.
Right.
Whereas they kind of gloss
goes
over the
to
original.
different banks, and she's pretending to be a member of the board or whatever.
I suppose, yeah.
But she borrows a bunch of money from Michael so she can establish some fake identities.
Her background, pretty much.
Yeah, and get some really nice hotel rooms in the process.
Yeah.
While she flies first class to all these places. Because, if you're going to do a job, you're going to do it right.
You got to do it right, man.
And she does give him the money back.
Which he was way too willing. She'd just be like, I need 50,000. And he's just like, okay.
What's funny is I don't think I have that. No, you have that. You have this much in this account, this much in this account. And I'm sorry,
right.
I know that.
That's right. You're not sorry one bit, are you?
It's like, well, I'll go get coffee.
For a dude who lost a good grip of money, he's awful willing to give up another 50 grand
Yeah.
of his dollars.
She does give it back with interest.
With interest.
So when it boils down to which one I like better, it had to go. I weighed, because I think everything is pretty even keel, with the exception of Lisbeth.
One of them doesn't have Daniel Craig's muscles in it, though.
That's true, but I actually really thought Michael Nyqvist was kind of attractive. So.
You know what? I told Leslie who was watching, I was like, that is some good dad bod.
It is.
In this movie.
And he's a
dad
dad.
bod I aspire to go for. I'm pretty sure I'm close to it now. But yeah, it comes down to who has a better portrayal of Elizabeth, and it's definitely the original.
Yeah, I prefer New Repace. I think there's a touch of... Okay, so when I grew up painfully shy, like horribly, horribly shy. And to this day, I'm incredibly socially awkward, particularly around people I don't know.
Yeah, makes sense.
To the point where people think I'm a bitch.
No, Carol Coles.
No, they do. They think I'm icy cold, and they think I'm a bitch because I'm quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm not. At least I hope I'm not.
I can confirm she is not.
But around people I don't know, I have this like, nope, big
kind of clamming up. Yeah.
So there's a bit of that in Rapace's portrayal, where I sense that social awkwardness, whereas Mara's portrayal is just, I'm a bitch.
Okay.
There's really not a whole lot. I mean, her treatment of the secretary at Vanger Industries when she goes to investigate, where it's just like, I'm not done.
Yeah. I feel like they kind of might have played that for laughs a little bit. But it just came off as bitchy.
Really bitchy.
Right.
And there are times even with Blomkvist where she just comes off as, why are you being such a bitch?
Right.
Whereas I don't think that there's not that in, it's more just awkwardness with Rapace. So I have to give it to the original because I just like that Lisbeth a bit more. And it is the girl with the dragon tattoo, and she had a better badass tattoo.
Yeah,
man.
I was hoping we'd have a second to talk about that because her is a whole back tattoo, whereas Rudy Mara's
it's on her shoulder.
Yeah, it's shoulder, and the tail kind of goes down the side of the back
A little bit.
Yeah,
hey.
no, that was a weepy. Did you see the fourth?
I did not. I read the book and I hated it.
Yeah, from what I heard, that movie's not great, but I do wonder what
I'm
the
curious.
tattoo looks like.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it just for the sake of watching it at some point. I have the entire Swedish trilogy because I really love the movies.
Yeah.
They like the books. They kind of taper off a little bit. But and then I was surprised when I was looking through my collection that I actually own the Daniel Craig version too. Oh, where'd I get this?
Yeah, I was equally surprised that I forgot that I had the Swedish versions in my catalog, and I was like, "Oh, right on, man! Yeah, dust these bad boys off."
Wow, I don't have to rent anything.
Yeah.
But I do that a lot with my DVDs. I look through, it's like, oh, when did I get this? But yeah, so I have to give it to the original.
I do believe I agree. Not by much.
This is a pretty good remake.
I really dug this Fincher version.
Yeah.
I think they Americanized it up fairly well.
Which is weird because they still had it set in Sweden.
Yeah, that made no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't just move. Probably because he was actually found guilty of libel. And has anyone in America ever been found guilty of libel?
No, not at all. They could at least send to like Canada. You still get that coldness or something.
Cold or something. But yeah, I have to give this one to the original.
Agreed. Is it dice time?
We're not doing the dice.
Oh, that's right. I'm glad you're here to keep us on the level.
October.
Yes, it is time for our annual torture of seed.
That's right. Where I make you watch 8 Halloween movies, 8 horror movies. Yay!
Way too happy about this.
So should we tell them what we're doing?
Yeah. So if you are one of our newer patrons, hello. From since last October, what we're going to do is since October's coming up, and that is generally the scary movie month, we're going to find 4 new original and remakes of scary movies, as curated by our Miss October herself, Carol Coles. We're going to alternate like we did last year, 2 for regular and 2 on Patreon.
Yeah.
So if you are a patron, you will get 4. And those who are the plebes will just get 2. So you'll get 1 a week for the 4 weeks of October. Yes. Do you have that in front of you? Because I don't.
Yeah. So the 4 movies we decided on were Carrie, Suspiria,
Dario Argento,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
And My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, boy.
Granted, it's not a Halloween. It's a Valentine movie. But people die, so it's a Halloween movie. Plus, the original is Canadian, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Okay.
Can't wait to talk about it.
We can't wait to talk about it. So yeah, man, it's gonna be horror movie fest all throughout October here for Refried Scenes. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Yeah, I get to crank open my horizons just a little bit, not too much.
I think most of these are going to be kind of fun.
Okay.
Fun in a horror movie way.
Right on. I'm not sure what that means, but we're gonna
at the very least, you will enjoy the opening scene of the original Carrie.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I've seen a good bit of Carrie, but it's always been like on TBS, something like that.
Well, you see a good bit of Carrie in the opening scene as well.
Well,
and
all right,
everybody else.
Oh, right on. So we will be back 4 times next month.
Yeah.
We're gonna be hoard out.
Yeah. No, not me.
No, it's just another October for Carol.
Yep.
All right. Until then, you guys take it easy, and you'll be hearing a lot from us next month. Have a good one.